Hey, good morning. Welcome in. All right, happy Thursday. So today, something special. We're going to be trying to, well, actually, just learning to do some Unity stuff. I'm basically self-teaching myself. Okay, that's repetitive. I'm teaching myself Unity basics. Today we're probably going to be exploring mostly dialogue and text. I'm just finishing my breakfast. We're currently live on Kick and on YouTube. So we're just going to do a couple checks real quick. Just to make sure we are actually live. Welcome in. Don't think this is gonna work.
What? Wait, what? What?
Hey, Gian. I'm gonna turn all that channel point stuff down. Let's see. Good morning. I'm also going to check to see if we're live on YouTube. It looks like we are. Yeah, everything seems to be here. Unity. You don't like Unity? I mean, Ikion, the only differences is that Unreal isn't as modular. So, for example, Unreal really heavily depends on blueprints. So making games is difficult if you have a unique idea. If you have a generic idea, Unreal is like top-notch. I've done some research into it, but I'm pretty much committed to Unity at this point. There's just a lot more flexibility. Unreal does have this aesthetic that I want. So that's like my main setback is like I would like to do Unreal. I would. Hey Halfd0rk, aka Garnican, what's up? So this is where we left off with. I kind of gave like a brief teaser last week, but I essentially imported some GLTF models, exported directly from VoxEdit. Now, the main thing to note here is that I had to use some third-party modules, so things I purchased that cost money, so this was, to get this all set up was not free, is what I'm trying to say. But I was able to get all the Wizzies in here, as well as this default character that I'm hopping around on. This character controller, also a module that I picked up. The things you see on screen pretty much were from a Humble bundle, so my costs for this particular project are going to be pretty low. But still, it ain't cheap to get started. Oh yeah, Ikion, no code is for the win. I'm actually very invested in a lot of no code modules. However, I haven't put the time in yet, and so that's part of the reason why I want to explore Unity, is because I put the money in, but now I gotta put the time in. And I think I can make it work. I now have like the momentum to make games. Before it was like too difficult in my mind, and so I was never able to just sit down and do it. But look at me now, Mom! Alright, so what are we working on today? Well, I want to explore the dialogue system, and we're going to try and make Wizzy here talk. That's the idea. Now, there's going to be two modules that we put together. One is the dialogue system. I ended my last attempt without success, so I need to take this one step at a time. But I want to put like a little speech bubble above Wizzy the Black's head here when we arrive in town. So essentially, when I load the game up, and Halfd0rk, are the costs a one-time thing? Yes, they are. So it's kind of like you're buying pre-made code. So for example, let's just say an enemy that attacks you when it sees you. That would take hours of coding. However, you can just purchase that pre-made on the marketplace. So it's kind of like buying pre-made code or assets. Assets are definitely in that category too. So like this whole town, for example, I basically pre-made or pre-bought. I didn't make any of it. Okay, so my character here, Wizzy the Black, he has a dialogue system trigger. So I'm going to be referencing a lot of tutorials. This is going to be a pretty, I guess, low maintenance stream. Like you guys, I'm glad you're here, glad you're watching. But this is mostly me teaching me, you know, for the next 2 hours. So thank you so much for tuning in. Ikion currently trying to figure out how to link a C# script to UI, but is insane all the dev tools like Visual Studio based on code when we have tools like Figma where you can create fully functional logical UI. Yeah, Ikion, that's a big plus. Do you like Figma? I've actually heard a little bit about it because Adobe bought it, right? And I am teaching myself Visual Studio and GitHub. Both of those have been on my my radar. All right, so looks like YouTube's working, Kick's working. I got no more excuses. I'm gonna get started. So I'm gonna probably need to reference the manual and the quick start guide. So we'll get these up on screen. So this is the dialogue system. I want the character to talk to me when I arrive. That's what we're looking for. Ikion, yeah, Adobe is kind of monopolizing, or attempting to at least. Okay. So what I was struggling with the last time I was working on this project is getting the trigger to work. So I need a trigger to activate when the player clicks on the character. So what I did get working, and this is me trying to pick up where I left off here, is there should be a trigger right here. So dialogue system trigger on start. So right now, if I were to start the game, it should bring up the dialogue. And it's crashing. Huh. Well, that's not good. Try it again. Okay, so this time it worked. You know what? I'll take it. Okay, so the sample dialogue, NPC says hello. We as the player get to say goodbye. So everything on screen here is completely editable. So like I can change the speech bubbles and all that. But we're aiming to get the functionality first. So getting this to work instead on starting the game, I want it to be when I click on the Wizzy. So what I was trying to do was use the on-use trigger. And that means when I select Wizzy the Black, we can see he's highlighted here. That would allow me to bring up that dialogue menu. So we're going to be referencing the document, see what we can find here. Hey, Life Mimi, Mr. Paul, what's happening? Used to use Playmaker. Yeah, Playmaker is it's one of the OG Unity. Just yeah, visual scripting. So right now I'm kind of trying to teach myself one thing at a time, but I do want to move into visual scripting. There's a lot of options now, like too many options. Okay, so player's selector or proximity selector sent an on-use message to the game object or the dialogue system triggers on-use method. Sent an on-use message to the game object. So the player's selector or proximity selector. Yay, documentation. Figma's already behind a paywall. Yikes, Ekion. Oh, thanks, Ekion. I appreciate the offer. I have purchased. Yeah, this goes back to the things I've bought but haven't spent time on. Like, I've bought the user interface. Like, I have everything on the table ready to go. I just got to put the time in. So, that's why I'm trying to make the most of these opportunities, these streams. Trigger Collider. I think I'll try this. You may want to set conditions accepted tags to restrict this trigger to game tags specific like player. Okay. So now we're going to be getting into tags. Let's do Unity tags. Tag is a reference word which you can assign to one or more game objects. You might define items that the player can collect in a scene with the collectible tag. Okay. Man, this sounds familiar. Tags help you identify game objects for scripting purposes. They ensure you don't need to manually add game objects themselves. Tags are useful for colliders. This is everything we're looking for. So it looks like we can add tags here through the inspector. Cool. So we're going to be adding to the player, which we can see is this giant collider box. I'm going to add a tag. Player. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to Wizzy the Black. And we're going to add the on trigger enter. Add player tag. Okay. There's no way it was that easy, right? Never that easy. I don't think I added the collider, though. No. So ideally, I want the dialogue to pop up. So we gotta make sure we have the collider. We have a capsule collider. Is trigger, I think we needed to enable. Let's reference the document again. Should have a trigger collider. You may want to set conditions accepted tags. Okay. Real coders get suspicious when something goes way too easy, right, Stalacurth? It's always seems to be the case. Conditions. Accepted tags. Okay, so it looks like it added that correctly. Now do we have some way to enhance or make the trigger bigger? Trigger bigger? Okay, so let's make the radius. Right now it's at 0.3. I'm going to put it at 1. For testing. We're still not activating the dialogue. Okay. This is pretty much where I got stuck last time. It's like I couldn't get the dialogue system trigger to work, but I was able to get it on start. Conversation actor.
Are you gonna fix it? I am not gonna fix anything because I'm an artist.
I'm an artist. Okay, we're gonna try a different trigger then. We'll try on collision enter. Has begun touch. So basically when two colliders touch each other. That's what we're trying next. In contrast to the on trigger enter, on collision enters past the collision class and not a collider. The collision class contains information. Okay. So these are scripts. Which might explain why things aren't working, as if I have to write the script. But ideally, in Unity, having this module is supposed to do the work. We have the player tag. Go ahead and tag this game object as player as well. Try it again. So we're not colliding either. Maybe this character needs to have collisions on. Mesh collider. Hey Tom, what's up? Welcome in. So I think part of the problem here is I'm not colliding. So we have a mesh collider, but that might not be the right choice. So I might need like one of these types of colliders. Whoa. So we're not getting a visual on it. Oh, hello. Maybe it's because of my scale. Okay. How do I apply the scale? Okay, alright, we're on to something. So I had to scale these down. They're at 0.02 right now. And that was just through the import. The GLTFs were rather large. So I'm going to try apply to prefab. Try an original prefab. Okay. See. I see. Okay. We'll try that. Nothing to it, Tom. We're exploring Unity. Basically, I'm trying to get dialogue triggers to work. So when the player clicks on Wizzy the Black, it will cause a dialogue to appear. So that's what we're trying to get working. Okay, so this is going to be my main object. I'm going to position it right here. Which I don't see it anywhere. I think it's a little bit too large, actually. Believe it. Make something I could see. So right now that's basically positioned directly on top of my camera. If I move it right here and then do Control-Shift-F, that'll place it where the camera view is. So this has the scale of 1:1:1. I want to make it invisible. Attach Wizard the Black to it. However, it does appear as though the object itself must be visible. Maybe if I turn off the mesh renderer. Okay. So now we have this cube here. It has a collider on it. So I basically want to put this component on the cube instead. So this is going to be @ Wizzy the black. We'll place the dialog system trigger. We'll paste that information that we just copied. Great, so on collision enter, it's going to start that dialog, hopefully. So I'm going to remove it from the original Wizzy. Remove that. We're going to be adding the usable component. I want this to be how we interact with the character, but for now, I want to get that collision. Just by walking into this space, I want it to trigger the dialogue. Okay, we'll try it. Mosquita, welcome in. Oh. Spacebar to interact. Well, spacebar is currently my jump. But that is a good sign. I would like to set the use key to E. Selector detects usables by raycasting from specified such as mouse position. Presses the use button. Only message to the usable. Player targets a usable and presses the use key or use button. I might have to bring out good old Chat GPT. Edit project settings input. Preferences. It's not here. Shouldn't be as difficult as it is. I think I'm just missing like something very crucial. Hey Ian, what's up? Welcome in. Yeah, Ian, just trying to, more or less, the Wizzy game is a tool to teach me Unity. So a lot of the things I'm learning right now are frustrating because I'm so new. And so this game, and it's going to be super simple, the game in its release, but it's teaching me the simple basics of Unity.
Import the dialog system using the package manager window. In this quick start tutorial option,
Yep, we've already done all this.
right-click on it and select Blue Node is
Did that.
Next, then create a queue. Select our
Okay, this is where we are.
select add action, start conversation. Select our newly created conversation. Assign the player game object to the conversation actor field and the NPC to the conversation conversant. Then change the trigger dropdown to on start. And let's test this out.
Okay.
Inspect the player and add a selector component. Change.
I don't know if I have that. Selector use standard UI elements. I think I had the wrong selector. Now, I also want to maybe remove the jump use command or change the use command to like E. But I wasn't able to find that setting. Triggers. Interaction. Usable. Okay. Alright, we'll do this one at a time though. Ugh. Oh. Okay. I'll put it up on screen just so you can see what I'm looking at. Capture. So this has the input get button jump, which I would rather set that to input.get button and set it to E. Custom input. But I'm going to come back to this. One thing at a time. Hopefully we can get it working. Now that we know we didn't have the selector on this character. Add a selector. Use standard UI elements component to allow the selector to use Unity UI? No. We want the normal selector. Select at mouse position. Distance from camera. We'll just set it to 50 for now. And usable, we're also going to set to 50. Okay, let's try this again. That's a nope. What is it? Did you practice long on making the models? These models are an assortment of models that I have either purchased or was given. So these wizards are part of a sandbox collection. That's a visual game software where you can build your own games in the metaverse. And the models themselves I purchased. So I did not make these models, but not difficult to make. Right now I'm trying to teach myself how to do dialogue by clicking on the characters. And I have this dialogue system module that I'm trying to get working. Cheat mode. Yeah, pretty much. Hey Halfd0rk, welcome. Let's see. So I needed to look at this collider here, and I want to, instead of do collision enter, we're going to try the on use again. Because that's what I was trying to do anyway. Try it again. It's working. It's working! Oh, that's a relief actually. Because I was stuck on this the last time I was trying. Now the only problem is my spacebar input is causing my character to jump, and it is currently the default for talking with characters. So I want the player to be able to jump, so I would like to set up a different button to be the on use. We can see here just by mousing over the character and then doing the on use button, it's allowing me. Now I can talk to him from a pretty far distance though. So we also want to adjust that. Hey, Mithril Arts Studios, welcome in. Yeah, the Wizzy GLTFs are in Unity. It's something I have always planned to do, is bring like the sandbox into Unity, and other people are really like knocking it out of the park. Like I am not the first person to do this. Like I've seen a couple people do sandbox assets in Unity. I'm late to the party. Great, so the two things, let's go ahead and do the selector distance lower. So I'm going to do 10, and we'll see if there's a difference here. So we can see I can still spacebar interact. However, it's not until I'm like right next to him does this little bubble appear. Okay, so if I'm over here, we don't get that bubble anymore. So this is currently a distance of 10 to where I can talk with him. Yeah, sure, that's a reasonable distance for now. Now, the problem I'm going to probably be bashing my head against for a while is how to change the interact from spacebar to E. So I need to try and find where the input is. Interesting. Sure, we'll add that. Selector. Is it on the player? Yeah, it's on the player. Interaction tutorial. I think this is what we're looking for.
You can always start conversations in C# code or any of the supported visual scripting systems or using dialogue system triggers. In this tutorial, we'll cover trigger-based interactions like this, and interactions using a proximity selector component like this. The dialogue system works great in 2D, 3D, VR, and AR, but since this tutorial is in 2D, we'll need to enable the dialogue system's 2D support.
New input system. Enable support. Maybe I need to set up the...
In the dialogue system's welcome window, tick 2D physics. Next, we'll download the tutorial assets from the dialogue system extras page linked in the description. Go to the extras page, download the tutorial assets package, and import it.
Ugh. Yucky. Kind of scary that you can understand stuff with that speed. I often, Stalker, have to go back, but usually I'll do things at double speed until I find what I need. Or I'll use Control F. I guess that's more like my ADD kicking in, really. New input system. You must have installed the new input system. Alright, let's make sure we have that. We have this input system. This is the new input system. Okay. I don't think we need anything else here. Custom binding components. Fairly certain that's what we want. On-screen controls. Okay, so I think this is more for the player swapping between controller and keyboard. Yikes. This is going to be an online game? 654, it can be, but this particular game will not be. This is going to be more of a, kind of like an Easter egg scavenger hunt, I would say is the best way to describe what I'm making. Most of everything you see here is just designed to help me understand Unity, because I am an amateur. I am literally beginner level Unity developer. But I do build games in the sandbox metaverse. So that's what got me started in game development.
We'll start with the base tutorial scene, which is a simple scene that you can run around in. The first thing we need to do is assign the dialog database to the dialog manager. We can just assign the demo database. Let's set up a bark interaction on the crate. Inspect the crate and set up a trigger collider. Make the trigger a little bigger so the player can trigger the interaction when she's near it instead of right on top of it. Next, add a dialog system trigger and set it to onTriggerEnter. Since we only want the player to trigger this interaction, click the Add Player Tag button. In the Actions section, click Add Action Bark. Set the bark source to text and enter some text to bark. Now we need to give this crate a bark UI. Locate the Bubble Template Standard Bark UI prefab and add it to the crate as a child.
Oh, that's nice. This is something I would like to add, so I think we'll work on this then. So basically the Wizzy will say, like, hey, talk to me. Something along those lines. When I get close. Let's try setting that up. Okay, so we already have our database here. So now we're going to add the Bark UI, Looks like I have to add a prefab. Rotation scale. Okay.
Dialog database to the dialog manager. We can just assign the demo data. Make the trigger a little bigger so the player
So box collider.
can trigger the interaction when she's near it instead of right on top of it. Next, add a dialog system trigger and set it to on trigger enter.
Okay. We'll do on trigger enter. Probably be adjusting these things, but for now this is learning opportunity. Add player tag, which we already have.
Since we only want the player to trigger this interaction, click the Add Player Tag button. In the Actions section, click Add Action Bark. Set the barks.
Actions, add bark. Okay, so for now, I'm going to remove the conversation. We're going to do bark.
Force to text, and enter some text to bark. Now we need to give this crate a bark UI. Locate
Okay.
the bubble template standard bark UI prefab and add it to the crate as a child. We'll change the order layer so that it renders on top of our 2D sprites.
Okay.
Then let's save this customized version as a prefab variant. That way we won't lose our customizations if we import an update of the dialog system. Finally, add a dialog actor component and assign the bark UI prefab to it. We'll set the Y offset.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
set to 0 so that it's not too high above the crate. And let's give this a shot. Now let's set up a proximity selector interaction with the villager.
Okay. Nice. That's what I wanted. We don't need the collision on the box, though. I think I can delete this, actually. Right? Maybe not. Salter D, what's happening? What's up? Been looking for a fellow Unity dev? Well, Salter D, I am an amateur. This is literally me teaching myself how to use Unity. But welcome in nonetheless. Do you also stream? I'm gonna drop a follow anyway. Trying to teach myself the dialogue system. This is a module. And it's supposed to make things easier, but it's slow rolling. Last 9 days, well, awesome, dude. I'll have to drop by. Hey, Raider, what's happening, man? Welcome. Seeker Meow, welcome in as well. How are you? Okay, so we have our dialogue here. Now, it just disappeared because I removed the box collider. I prefer the player not to be able to bump into it. So maybe we just reduce the size of it. Let's see how this interacts. Make the box a trigger. Okay. You know, I was trying to set up the trigger with an on use, and basically I'm using a character controller. Uh-oh. Box sliders do not have negative scale. Okay. We'll do something small. So I'll set it as the trigger then. I don't think this is the solution I needed. So the collisions for impact with the trigger just checks that the player enters before the trigger. Okay. Now my character controller just stopped working, so I'm not sure what I did wrong here. There we go. Hey, that's what we like. Thanks, Salter D. Alright, well that's pretty much what I wanted from the start. For a while I was using an on use, and the reason why on use wasn't working how I wanted it to is because it was bound to the same button as my spacebar, my jump. So basically, I would have had to do a little bit of coding, but this is a much better solution for what I was trying to do. Alright, cool. Well, with that done, I mean, I'll probably add some barks to all the other Wizzies. And this is going to be like a super simple, like a scavenger hunt, really. It's like, hey, can you find all 7 Wizzies? And so right now you can see in there. And I've added default animations, so I should make like a to-do list, actually. Let me pull up my handy-dandy notepad here. Let's see, Obsidian. All right, so our to-dos. We're going to be making animation triggers for each Wizzy, such as talking, dancing, just different animations for each, laugh, and then we also want bark UI on each Wizzy, and yeah, collectibles. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, cool. Making progress. You can also add another box collider so you can still hit the person and get both. Oh, true. Yeah, Salter, that's a good point. I think that's probably more what I want in terms of like realistic. So instead of just passing through him, so I'll bump into Wizzy himself, but the chat bubble is kind of like unaffected. All right, we'll just put that in real quick. So I'll put a box collider on this character. Now, my character has a kind of weird scale from how I imported him. So, see how this affects him. Why do this to me? Sure. Do that. Something like that. Cool. Bark UI positioning, I'd probably want a little bit higher. UI offset. I think it's going to be this one. We'll do 0.5. We can see how that looks. Error? So now I think I'm too far away for the chat bubble. So it looked like colliding with him was causing that chat bubble to appear. Which I think we can adjust that. So that'll be on this box collider. We'll just make the size larger. And so that's where the trigger comes in. So I'm glad to have learned that. Yeah, trigger box bigger. Yep. Thanks, Salter-D. Raider asks, are the sandbox servers working now? I have not actually tried any this morning. But yeah, if you're having a problem, I mean, I would assume they're maybe doing a little maintenance. There we go. So right now my collider is a little bit odd. I also have a selector here that's popping up. That was for a different mechanic that we were trying, but no, it's doing what I want it to. So we'll just fine tune that a little bit. Put them right here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Make this larger. That's just the trigger box. And then this box collider will make it a little bit smaller. Cool, I'm happy with it. So now I can put this on other assets. And we can adjust the chat that comes out. So that's going to be in here in the actions, which it's currently using the dialogue actor and a Bark UI. I don't think I need this anymore because I have it prefabbed. So I'm going to try disabling it and we'll make sure it still works. Yeah, it still works. Nice. Alright, so I can delete this. I had already prefabbed it. So it's our Wizzy Bark UI. So I can delete it. And now I'm going to go and add same functionality to my other Wizzies. So these are basically wizards, but they're part of a collection called Wizzy. The Wizzy collection. So we're going to be adding the game object, which allows me to scale it at a normal ratio. So we'll just make, oh, that's kind of creepy. Make a new game object on top of each one. And then we're kind of copying these settings here. Oh, we were all, instead of a game object, we want to do a cube. I don't think it matters, right? But having the cube actually helped me a lot. Because I was able to visibly see it. Right now it's spawning it over here. This time we'll try to make the settings a little bit better. Is there an option to give someone permission to post the links? You know, I haven't poked around. Let me take a quick peek on Kick and see if I can like mod you. Alright, Tom, you're officially a mod. I'll go ahead and mod VBox as well. Yep. So yeah, for those of you that are, I guess, new to Unity like me, I'm happy to explore mechanics. I personally have like zero information to share. I'm kind of like teaching myself as I go. So I hope you all have patience and you enjoy, you know, the process. Happy to talk about anything and everything though. Okay.
Tom Voxel's probably in the chat.
Hey, Tom Voxel, how are you? Welcome, buddy.
Tom Voxel.
Tom
Voxel himself. Voxel's here. Okay, so we're disabling the mesh renderer. We are adjusting the box collider, and we can reference the one we've already made. So we have 212. and it's a trigger. So that gives me ample room for the player to just walk up to him. That's going to trigger the bark UI above his head. We also have a dialogue system trigger. The usable I no longer need, so I'm going to remove that. That's what was giving us the mouse over. And we also have a dialogue actor, so both of those we do still need. Dialogue system trigger. And the dialogue actor. Okay, so this is going to be on collision enter. Add player tag. Action bark UI. Bark source will be text. Bark text will be I'm Wizzy the Orange. Don't think we need the bark targets, right? Nope. And then the actor, the only thing we had to add was the user interface. So that adds the chat bubble. Okay. And then this was 0.5. Now we also had, I think, like a rotation. But I won't worry about it for now. Okay. We'll just make sure that's working. So one of those where we need to destroy the device. I mean, you could destroy it if you wanted to, Scalicurth. But for these, I think it's just going to be like a scavenger hunt, where you just approach each one of them and they say something. We'll probably have a quest where it's like, find 10 coins. Is this system built into Unity now? Everything I'm working on, I believe, is a module, if that's what you're asking, Salter D. So basically, these chat bubbles is a module called Dialogue System that I purchased on the marketplace. Okay, well, unfortunately, my chat bubble is not appearing right now. So, two things. I'm going to move my character closer for testing. I think the main camera I also have to adjust. Maybe not. Let's find out, actually. I do not have to move the camera. Okay, so it did not trigger when I got close enough. I didn't mean to enter. Really? Really? So we have the player tag. Player is tagged player. We set up the trigger. On trigger enter. On collision enter. So we need on trigger enter. Great. Love it. Fantastic. Okay, anything else on here? We had a mesh collider and a box collider. Huh. So I had a mesh collider, but I guess I don't need that. I mean, I guess I prefer the box collider anyway. We'll copy these settings. Alright, so now we got our two colliders there. Make sure this is working. Nice. And we're colliding with him. We can even stand on his head if we want to. Excelente. Alright, so we're going to do that with the other characters.
I love Lamp.
Me too. I love Lamp. And I'm doing Control-Shift-F, and that allows me to position an object directly on top of the camera. So it's like a little cheat code, I guess. So Control-D to duplicate, Control-Shift-F to move. I'm resetting the rotations. Okay. Oops. Progress. Okay, so each one of these has the arc triggers. Trigger enter. We'll go ahead and remove the mesh colliders from these. We'll add the box collider. I think we even have the paste component values still. That was it. I think we need the... Anything else? Animators? Looks like the animator's already there. Hey Jayonha. Good evening from Bangkok. Alright, so now we'll just adjust the text real quick for each. Get los muertos. I'm Santa. Fantastic. Let's try it out. Nice. Might want to adjust the offset on some of them. I love it. All right. So more notes for me is I would like holding down Shift to cause me to sprint. Pretty sure there's a sprint animation for this character. And maybe Control can be crouch. I thought there was a crouch. So C is crouching. And then maybe Control for walk. Oh, okay. Alright, I'll put that in my notes. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to try and adjust some animations here. Each one of my characters I want to give a different animation. Now, we're going to be using triggers, and we can use the same triggers we set up, I think. So let's try and teach ourselves. So we'll do trigger, enter, change animation, UV. You know what's crazy is this person is using the dialogue like logo here. Okay, that's not that crazy, but okay. So we'll make a script here. We need more practice making scripts anyway. This will be anim talk. I'm just going to delete these for now. Alright, how do we want to do this? Hmm. Trigger. Lock. Nice. Okay, so far so good. Has exit time. Yeah, we'll try it. So we'll set it up with our Wizzy the Orange here. So I think I just need to give him the script. And the only problem is my trigger happens to be on this asset. Maybe we make a new trigger. Uh-oh. Yeah. Back to Google. Yeah, I'm gonna adjust this code, see if I can get it working for my use. No clue what I'm doing though. Hmm. I don't think that was the right direction. Hmm. Interesting. Hey, Vox Machina, what's up? Looks like all my animations are positioned improperly. So I might have to re-import the animations, see if we can fix that. The AFK seemed to be fine, though. I guess because it's from an aerial view, so I didn't see it. But yeah, we made some progress there. It's not perfect. It's a step in the right direction. He's talking. Player walks away. Doesn't seem to be stopping. Let's remove that condition. And then in the code, I'll do idle. He's not stopping talking. Now my controller is breaking again. This is Blender. This is Unity, Vox Machina. This is the same software that the sandbox was made in. So we get the animation working. However, it doesn't stop. So that's what we're trying to get now. We'll see if Chat GPT has anything to say about that. How do I have them automatically stop their loot animation after triggering? Naveen Batsai, welcome. I do not have a YouTube bot. I don't know how to help you. Select the animation state in which you want to stop the looped animation. For example, if you have a walk animation, select an animator, add an animation event. When the animator state is selected, scroll down into the inspector until you see the add behavior. Click on the small inner arrow and select add animation event. Okay, set the animation event. In the inspector window, you'll see the animation event selection. Let's check it out. Nope. No, this isn't what I want. I want to make sure idle is not looping though. Loop off. Yeah, good luck, Naveen. Wow, we fixed it. So right now the idle is not looping though. It's the default. Okay, now it's looping. So my animations are all wonky. I think I just have to re-import them. Some of these characters might have had a different rig. That might be directly affecting it, because I think the animations I'm using are on this character. Alright, well this is going to be the end of my stream. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to keep working on this kind of a learning experience. I don't have a name for it. In fact, it's just taking it step by step, just teaching myself stuff. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the new follows. I'll be back same time tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Kick and YouTube. Probably be multi-streaming to other platforms in the future. But yeah, thanks everybody. Ikion Hoddle, Jayon Ha, Salter D, Dalikirth, Hoddle Hill, Tom Voxel, Naveen, Vox Machina, Mithril Arts, Raider. Have a great day, everybody.